Hey, Facebook, what's going on, everybody? How's it going? And for all those that have actually been sending my videos around, I thank you. For the most part, I mean, my haters are going to appreciate, a lot of the information. Hopefully, they can get educated by it. So what are we going to talk about today? First, I'm going to talk about this whole presidential race that's coming up. And I want you to understand the dynamics of the process, and not just the presidential race, but overall politics as a whole. Do you know that you do not actually select the candidate that you want to vote for? And I'll tell you why. Because the Democratic Party that exists in our communities, or any party for that matter, make a determination on who they want to get elected. They then, in fact, do whatever they can, and I had the experience, and others have experienced this as well, that the Democratic Party makes all effort, or takes every effort, to ensure that they get the candidate out front that they want out front. So they line up all their ducks in a row. They contact all their union bosses, and everybody makes a decision. Okay, we're going to go with such and such because such and such made the phone call. And this is just what it is. It's a reality. You can run as hard as you want, but at the end of the day, if the voters don't come out, and real voters who do the research about who they're looking to elect, then truth be told, the Democratic Party makes that determination for you. And the process goes, hey, I'm going to call up a union boss, tell them I need a favor. So this is not even about who actually represents, or could be the best representative for you. This is about who owes favors to whom in order to get those individuals elected. Just keeping it real. And that's across the board in every party nomination. And for those of you who think because you've registered as an independent, you're not independent. You're actually registering to be a part of a party called the Independent Party. So they too play politics with that line and make a determination on who they're going to support and actually do the same thing as well. So you're not being independent. Mindset, yeah, but unfortunately, when it comes down to casting that vote, you're not voting for the candidate that you think will be the best candidate, because in all reality, they're putting forward the person they want you to vote for. So that's just our reality. And I'm talking from one who's been in the office of elected officials and also operated as an operative in the democratic process, and also one who has run for office. So I understand that, wholeheartedly. But going back to the presidential election, truth be told, if Donald Trump wins the Republican nomination, I'm almost sure that Michael Bloomberg might jump in the race, because they're going to be looking for an alternative. He has the money. It doesn't take but so much to get on TV and radio and spend a couple of million, to advertise, to promote your agenda. That way you become familiarized with people, or vice versa, they become familiarized with you. And then henceforth, you got a campaign. The biggest thing about, running for office is raising money, because that's why you hear about so much corruption, because everybody's trying to be able to put themselves in a position to win. So what they do is, it's about the money. It's how do I get this endorsement, to get their support, to be able to put the bodies on the street to win an election. That's the whole process. Now, with regards to, I heard some people talk about, that I had mentioned I'm interested in public advocate. Well, I'm a community advocate, first and foremost. I did reach out to Tish James and let her know, if she decides to run for mayor, that I am seriously considering to run for public advocate. Now, does that mean if she doesn't run for mayor that I'm not going to run? I don't know. Truth be told, I'm using that a lot. I'm weighing all the options. I'm talking with folks. And naturally, again, it comes down to the money. Tish is cool people. I respect her highly. And I guess, it's a matter of making a determination on who would be better served for our community. And you guys would have to make that decision as we both put forward our case, be it that she runs for mayor or runs for re-election as public advocate. Again, I have to find out what the kind of support is in place in order for me to make that move. Because remember what I told you, the democratic process is not our process. So again, with this presidential thing, where my position is, I've had the opportunity to hang with the Clintons in the Hamptons, whereas I was a volunteer who actually organized under the auspices of the Young Dems, where I was called, at that time, I was working for Congressman Towns, and they had asked for somebody that can actually transport some vehicles up to the Hamptons to ride around with the Clintons while they were fundraising and stopping off in all those beautiful homes up there. And they needed somebody that also can get volunteer drivers, because naturally the president can't have people on payroll for the government running around doing political work, if you want to call it that. So they had to have volunteers. So I thought it was a great experience to do so. I didn't do it once, but I did it twice for the Clintons. Actually, when the Clintons came in the city, I got drivers for that. And did have an opportunity to shake the hands of then President Clinton and then New York State, U.S. Senator for New York State, Hillary Clinton. And we stood on the tarmac as they got ready to board Marine One. And it was a great experience for me and my volunteers. So I'm leaning heavily. I do think it's time for a woman. I do respect the fact, irrespective of what everybody's putting out there, the Republican Party put out there. And don't get me wrong, I like some Republicans. I sort of have a financial, fiscal conservative, sort of kind of attitude anyway, so I associate to some degree. But I'm a Democrat. What does that mean? I don't know. I know that for the most part, I believe about people getting what they deserve based on what their taxes pay for. If that makes me a Democrat or makes me a progressive, then so be it. But at the end of the day, it's about the people. It's about the public. It's about the voters, the taxpayers, all in one. You call us what you want to call us, but it is about us. And that's what we have to go out here and argue. That's what we need to, primarily put forward, that people still remember that it is called public servant, not self-servant. You understand? And sometimes I might come across like the angry black man, some people said, but that's not what that is. It's the passion in me and understanding the dynamic of individuals when they come to you for help. And at most times when they come, they're coming because they have nowhere else to go. And they're primarily at that end of the rope and they need a lifesaver. So you have to treat it with that amount of respect. So any offices that I've worked in, I've always applied that particular attitude, whoever I work for. And sometimes I was combative with the elected officials I work for because I thought that we should be doing the business of the people. Why are we kowtowing to the folks that work for government that's supposed to be doing the job that we pay them to do? So, I'm not an angry black man, just very passionate and just no nonsense. I'm not trying to hear it. I know what should be done. So none of these politicians can come to me with any kind of craziness to give the impression I don't know what I'm talking about. 15 years in working in government for the New York State Senate, as a outreach coordinator for the state under the reapportionment task force, as a special assistant to a sitting city council member who had a lot of clout and actually made East New York look what it looks like, and also under a congressman who was also a senior ranking member and also a chairman at some point. But I say all this to say that you got to stay tuned to what's going on. Read up on these folks, read up on the individuals that you would like to see in office, and understand how this process works. I'm going to keep talking to you about it. And but I still want you to believe nobody can't tell you who to go vote for. You've got to vote your conscience, and you've got to vote who best represents your interests and what you need to see get done. From rats in my backyard to the fact that I can't get my disability, you need to make sure the person can actually meet your needs right at your doorstep. And that's what this comes down to. And nobody should tell you anything different. That's just been me talking about politics today. I'm sorry about, rambling, but, I'm going to try to do these things every day just to kind of bring you new information. I'll come back later to talk about the cases that I've actually been working on, and most recently the situation of the 4-year-old who was actually placed in a stairwell because of misbehavior. I don't care what happens to a kid and how bad their asses might be. You don't put them in a stairwell to play with trash. I'll come back and talk more about that later on this afternoon. But for now, chew on this, y'all. Thank you.